Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to put that on that. And a lot of people don't think about, they get a cargo bike, is how do you transport it? So I'm pretty fortunate that I can put this bike with both wheels on inside the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It's got a lot of room with both seats down. But I need a better option to put it outside on my rack. This one-up rack is set up currently for my road bikes, my mountain bikes, etc. Those obviously have bigger wheels and tires than the 20-inch. This rack will accommodate 20-inch tires, but you do have to move the mounting points on the rack. So I'm going to set up, so I bought an extension that will plug onto this current rack, so I'll have two trays, and the one will be for the cargo bike, the Specialized Haul Globe ST and short transportation model, and it's going to go on the rack. So this bike weighs approximately 75 pounds plus the front rack that was put on here, which is made out of really, it's probably not that heavy, it's aluminum, but still adds probably a few pounds, plus the milk crate, etc. So it's got to be 80-ish pounds at least. So just to kind of give you an idea there. All right, so let's do an unboxing of the add-on and the parts, and let's see what it does. Okay, so here's what comes in the box. The box weighs about 28 pounds, and I always keep these boxes because these boxes are pretty cool to put, you know, bike parts and stuff like that in. It's a pretty sturdy box. So this add-on weighs 28 pounds. Because I am putting this bike on the rack, it's 3.5-inch tires. You have to get the oversized for the wheels. The rack only comes up to 3.1-inch tires, so the 3.5 won't fit unless you get the aftermarket wider dowels that go in the rack itself. I also purchased two of these. My other one's kind of worn out. This goes when you have a bike with fenders to protect the fender if the rack does not hit the actual tire. So I figured I probably would need them, so I went ahead and got two, one for the front, one for the back, just to be safe. So this is what it looks like in the box. Relatively easy there. So I'm going to pop it out of the box and show you how to put it together. So one thing to show you are these bolts. So they're the bolts that's going to mount the bolt onto the rack itself. But if you notice in the center, they have a specific locking mechanism. So you have to have a certain type of Allen wrench to be able to pull these off. And they do furnish in the tool packet that Allen wrench. So you can only, so you're thinking, well, if you don't put a lock there, and they do sell a lock, somebody can steal it. Well, they gotta have, yes, if somebody has a one-up rack with that tool, could they steal it? Yes. But, you know, so that's kind of where you're at with that. So now, you wanna bring the blue levers up. That's gonna allow you to bring the rack out. Okay. Then what you'll do is bring the levers back down. That'll keep it from going back together in a storage position. The thing we have to do is put the two bolts here. So these racks are easy. If you don't need 2 racks, you can obviously take them on and off. And then if you look at the mount, it's got a hole here. You stick in the bolt and then you slide it to the left or the right. So it lines up in the track, right? So we're gonna put it on. Then we're gonna line it up. I'll have the bolt screwed into, should line up perfect in there. So see how it slides? You can slide it back and forth and you line it up with the other plate. Okay? Allen wrench that goes on here. Now because I bought an add-on, it doesn't come in the package as I thought it was in there because I saw the color. Those are the wheel locks, or these particular items here for the standard wheels. So I have a spare set now because I bought the wider version for the other bike. Okay, so now we're going to tighten up. We're going to tighten this up. So you basically, just like anything you tighten with an Allen wrench, you just got to fit it on there and tighten till it's snug. Okay, I'm also going to check this one just to make sure that it is snug, which it is. Okay, I always put this tool in my car as I don't want to be stuck somewhere without this tool in case I need to remove the rack, because you cannot remove the rack without this tool, just to be clear. Okay, so the rack is installed. Now if you notice, it goes in an upward angle. That's going to help position the bikes so they don't rub on each other. One's higher than the other. Okay, so now I got to change these pieces here to accommodate the fat bike. Now they recommend putting the heaviest bike closest to the car, so I'm going to change and put the cargo bike on the inside. But first I'm going to make sure it'll fit, because with it could be really close to the car. So I'm going to check that first before I move everything around. So to take these off, you loosen up this bolt. Just pull this out. Sorry. You pull it out and there you go. So now we're going to put in the wider for the 3.5-inch tires. Okay, so I got the extensions put on. I'm going to show you a close-up of the gap there. So you can see that's going to fit the 3.5-inch tires. On your standard rack, that'll fit up to 3.1 inch. So again, you can see the difference there. Okay, so let's get the cargo bike on the rack itself. Again, they recommend putting the heaviest bike closest to the car to distribute the weight on the actual hitch versus being hung out on the edge here. Okay, so let's get the bike on there. What I also found is to remove, if you only want to have one on there, you can literally loosen these 2 bolts off and this piece comes off in less than probably 30 seconds. I mean, it's pretty fast. So pretty cool design, easy to get on and off. Yeah, so let's get on to putting the right spacers for the wheels and tires, but I wanted to show you that when I had it in the up position, how easy it is to go from 1 to 2 racks if you don't want the overhang. So as you can see, I have these dowels down here. This is for the 20-inch wheels. You can then move up depending on, like this is probably 24, this is probably for 26. This is for I think 29ers, 700Cs. I typically run the 700Cs and the 29ers in the top, and I also run my 26-inch Stromer on the top, but I use the little soft cushion to go on the fender to give it support. So really the only ones you need to bring down here is your 20s or maybe your 24s. Everything else should fit on the normal height up here, like I have on the regular one. This will fit your 700Cs or your 29ers. Okay, so let's get the cargo bike on. And it will hold the bike, as you can see, to then open up the rear area. Okay, then you basically can close that. But you can see the bike is very sturdy on the rack. I definitely recommend this rack, especially for this bike. You want to make sure you have good pressure on the tires. Let's go around the front. So you see it indented in the tire. That way you know it's not going anywhere. Okay, so that's how to carry this bike. I probably would pull off the crate when I take it with me, just so the stuff for my dog doesn't blow around in the wind. I usually remove anything that I don't want to fall off and potentially get broken or lost. The other thing I put on the bike, I had these pedals, and I can use a regular shoe on this side or an SPD type mountain bike shoe on the other side. I typically will just use my normal shoes for just going to the store, but if I'm doing a longer commute and I want to get locked in or clipped in, I'm going to use my mountain bike shoes there. So there's a couple different variations of those pedals out there. They're relatively cheap also. Again, so you can see the bike is pretty sturdy. I'm fortunate this bike will fit inside this car with both wheels on, and I just have to slide it in there. But it is quite heavy, so it does make it cumbersome lifting in and out. Okay, so that's how you mount it on the rack. So there you are. There's my first review on the Specialized Globe Haul ST short tail. So longest ride I've done is 30 miles each way to work, so a total of about 61 miles. Done a lot of little short trips. Pretty great bike. I wish I had a little better range, but it is a heavy bike and does carry a lot of weight. But I think what it's really designed for is to take away your short trips. So I'm going to really focus the rest of the year using this bike for any trip under 10 miles one way, and try to make it replace my car for those type of trips. Obviously there's always exceptions to those, but I'm going to really try to see what kind of mileage I have on it by the end of the year, and I'll just reduce that off my car usage. All right, so hopefully you like this video, and if you like more content, I'll share more commuting tips and things like that on this bike. But please subscribe, like, and comment. If you want to see any type of test on this type of bike or anything like that, I'll be glad to do it. So send me a comment. All right, get out there and ride your bike.